And is it recording? Yes. So, I didn't want to do a scripted bio because I wanted you to tell your story. So if I do a scripted bio, then I'm telling your story and not you. What I know is you were born in Mississippi. You came north for some reason. You'll tell us. I know you worked for years out at the Uniontown Mall, head of housekeeping. I know eventually you came to us at East End United Community Center through the Title V program, and they always kept trying to rotate Miss Nancy out of East End because they were supposed to rotate people, and somehow we finagled and never had her rotate. I don't know, maybe because I was on the board of the AAA, but we were like, no, she can't rotate. And then finally we were able to hire her. Because that's not supposed to happen. After some point, you're supposed to rotate, but she didn't rotate. So I don't know if it was my influence. Please don't rotate Miss Nancy out of here. So we were able to hire her. So tell us about growing up in Mississippi, why you came north. Tell us about your family, all of that. Anything you want to share. Oh, the other thing I'll say is she's the Energizer Bunny. She just turned 75. And she never stops moving, ever. So when I say I'm tired, she's got to be 10 times tireder than me. And at East End, the joke was always, why are you, Miss Nancy, and Mr. Alvin doing all this work? And I would say, I don't know why, because we're the old people. And she's the oldest of all three of us.
Her husband's gone.
Oh, that's okay. We'll talk to him later. And we're the ones that do all the work. Don't know why is that? I don't know. But so tell us about growing up in Mississippi and coming up north and being in it's LaBelle?
Lambert.
Okay.
Lambert, PA.
And coming into Uniontown. So give us your story.
All right. You know, she asked me to do this and first giving honor to God. Giving him all the honor and glory for my life as it has been. Because without him, I would not be here. So, I give everything to God. I give my kids to God. But I met my husband, he was in the Navy. And he was from Pennsylvania. He told me he was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So, the first time we came up here, first time I came up, I had my son with me. We had a son, he was still in the Navy. And my son, Sam, we came up on the bus, and when we got to Pittsburgh, I said to Lee, I said, are we going to get a cab to go to your house now? He said, no, we're going to have to ride the bus a little bit further. And I said, okay. So we got on the bus and we rode and rode and rode. And I kept saying, are we there yet? Like a little kid. So when we got to Uniontown, I said, oh, do we get a taxi to go to your house, to go to your parents' house? He said, no, they got to come pick us up. Okay. So his uncle came and picked us up. So we ride out 21. I said, how much further? How much further? Then we get in Lambert. And I cried for 2 weeks. God help me. I said, you brought me to these sticks and I come from the city. But to God be the glory. I had my kids all whilst I was in Lambert. And my daughter Anita is here with me today. And I got Alberta and Fanny. And my son passed in 2010.
So you said you were in the city of Mississippi. What
Yes.
city?
Marion, Mississippi.
That's a city?
Yes. And it's a big city too. It's Dr. Thomas. It's the second largest city in Mississippi. Yes, it's the second largest city in Mississippi.
And I know you would tell the kids at East End that you actually did pick cotton in Mississippi.
I picked cotton. I worked on the farm. And my brother's grandpap had a watermelon patch. And we used to love to just go in that watermelon patch and bust the watermelons open and eat them right there. That was the best tasting watermelon you have ever ate in your life. I mean, you think about it and you think about all the good of the South. There was a lot of bad, and I grew up doing a lot of the bad. I've been in Pennsylvania since 1964. And I saw a lot of the bad that happened down south with the civil rights movement, with the movement of everything. But then I look back and say, God brought me so far. And my mother always said, and I'm not going to start crying, y'all. I'm not going to do that. But my mother always said, you have to leave to get better. You have to know what you're looking for as you walk this path. And I have to say, walking this path has been a walk. And I don't take anything for granted now. Life is what you put in front of you. If you want to live a life, you got to make that life for yourself. No one's going to make that life for you. I tell the kids at the East End all the time, I say, y'all couldn't have made it if y'all would have had to live when I lived. They got too much going for them now. They couldn't have did it. I mean, and I went back home to a reunion, and I remember going back, and my aunt said, now you got to remember you ain't in the North no more. You got to remember you're not in Pennsylvania. You got to know when to speak and when not to speak. Well, that wasn't me. So I was in the store, and I was buying, and I was getting ready to pay, and this woman jumped in front of me. I said, excuse me, you jumped in front of me. My aunt grabbed me and pulled me out the store. Say, you can't talk to them like that. I said, it's my money is spending too. Why can't I? Why do she have the right to jump in front of me? Well, my aunt told me, because you're in the South. Well, I'm a different I couldn't get that out of my head. And every time I went home, that stuck in my head a lot. But we live in a world today, and I tell all the young people at the East End, and I keep trying to tell them, and I preach to them, you got to get out and make it for yourself. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. If you don't get out there and pray and ask for it and make your way to get it, you're not gonna get it. I know Dr. Thomas asked me to do this, and I said, Dr. Thomas, what am I supposed to talk about? She said, talk about you. When I came to Pennsylvania and got in the church, and my kids tell me today that I kept them in church too much, that we lived in church. But I don't think they lived in church because of the fact they know God. If you don't know God, then you're lost anyway.
Can you live in church too much?
See, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so either.
I never thought so, but my two youngest daughter, Alberta and Fanny, now the one sitting over there, Anita, anytime she can be in church with me, she's in church with me. And I thank God for that. But they always say, well, we went to church early in the morning and we didn't get out till late in the afternoon. But that's the way life was then. If we had a program, they went with me to the program. If we was going somewhere, they went with me to that. And then when their dad died, it was just us. So I had to keep them with me. So Anita joined the Air Force as soon as she got out of high school. And Alberta and Benny, they all doing, and I thank God for this. My kids, they may not go to church, but I've taught them God. I taught them how to serve Him. So I have to let them know that.
Were you always a member of John Wesley once you came north?
No, I was a member of First Baptist Church of Lambert. That was the church that my kids got baptized in, and it was a Baptist church. And Reverend Henderson Stover was the pastor. He only pastored there every other Sunday because at that time the Baptist minister had 2 churches in 2 different patches. So they would preach at one on the first and third, and the other one on the second and fourth Sunday. So that way, we had him 2 Sundays. Now, if you wanted to go to the other church, it was like a family church. If you wanted to go to the other churches on those Sundays that he was preaching there, you could. So it was really, bless you, baby. It was really. And then when I came to Uniontown, I decided that I couldn't travel back and forth to Lambert all the time. So I went to churches, visited a lot of churches, just to see where I wanted to go to church at. And being a Baptist, I went to all the Baptist churches first, because I was baptized in Mississippi as a Baptist. So I went to all the Baptist churches first. So then, one Sunday morning, we went to John Wesley. I took my girls and we went to John Wesley. And I used to walk across town because there were no buses from Surrey Hill to the churches over here. So we walked across town every Sunday to go to church. And I walked into John Wesley and I felt at home. And I've been there since I told him today I've been there since 1982. And
so you're the church clerk, the treasurer, the what? Chief cook, bottle washer, everything but the pastor.
Yeah, you do what you have to do in God's house. And you do and you work. If you're working for Him, you're working for the best. That's my Lisa. And so we do. So when I went to John Wesley, they put me in the kitchen first. So I learned how to cook more, to do more. And I've been there ever since. And I love working in God's house. I just love it. It makes me feel good. I don't take it for granted. They say just because the road don't get easy because you become a Christian. In fact, the going get tough sometimes. And sometimes that road is hard to climb. But if you believe in Him, you got it all.
Was Lambert, I think you call it a pass town. So
yes.
Was it considered a
yes.
pass town?
It was a coal town. It was a mine in Lambert. And down over the hill you had all the coal miners, the bosses' houses and everything down there, and up on the top you had the company house. And most of them was half and half. I mean, 2-sided home. So what you did, so you knew that they was going, you always had somebody living on the other side of you. And That's what you call the coal patch.
Was your husband a coal miner?
No.
Okay.
Once my husband came here, he worked many jobs. He worked at Sterling Faucet. He worked at Hillman and Bard. And when he died, he was working at Volkswagen. He was working at Volkswagen. So he always had good jobs. He always took care of us. And it was a blessing. Then I met my second husband, Jimmy.
So talk about Mr. Jimmy.
I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words. My first husband died in 1982. And I met Jimmy in 1985. And when we met, it was, I don't know what it was, but everybody said it wouldn't last. They said it wouldn't last. They said I wasn't his type and he wasn't my type. But God knows what type you're supposed to be with. I ended up with him for 33 years.
Thank you.
So he was my type, I guess. That's the way I think about it. He was my type because he died in 2016. And he was my type. His two kids by his first wife just left on Wednesday. They still come home and stay with me. We all became a family. We'll put it that way. We all became a family, and you have to be a family to get along. And I ain't gonna say it was easy. I would not lie and say everything was roses. But I think by him being a deacon, he was a deacon at Mount Olive and I was at John Wesley. But I met him in John Wesley because he used to come and sit behind me all the time in John Wesley. And I kept telling him, I'm not looking to get involved with nobody. But he kept coming around. Yeah, he kept coming around. So that was a good thing. Because 33 years we had together. And I think my kids loved him. I really do. And he loved the kids and the grandkids and the great-grandkids. Oh, when them great-grandkids started coming around, he was a happy camper. Because they would jump up on his lap in his chair and he would do. Then I went and bought him a dog. I didn't buy the dog was given to me. A little Chihuahua. Because he was sick and I was out working. I worked at Uniontown Mall for 22 and a half years. And then when I retired from Uniontown Mall, I said I wasn't going to do anything else. But then I got bored being at home because me and Jimmy hadn't been in the house that much together. And he was a OCD? Is that what you call him? Mm-hmm. Look at my daughter laughing.
I was surprised you all didn't strangle each other if he was OCD.
Oh, we almost did. That's why I went back out and went back to work.
Because for those of you who don't know, Miss Nancy is a keeper. She's a keeper of things.
He threw the first engagement ring he gave me, he threw it away. Because he said I had too much jewelry upstairs. I came home one day from work looking for this ring. I said, where's my ring? He said, what ring? I don't know what you're talking about. I said, it was on my dresser there. Oh, I cleaned that off. I got rid of all that stuff on that dresser. I said, you know you threw the diamond away you gave me. Oh, did I? I said, yes, you did. And he thought I was crazy. And the man would start cleaning and wouldn't quit. And he would just throw stuff away. So that's why I went back to work. So one of them women I go to church with, Sister Diane, said, come apply for Title V. So I went and applied for Title V, and they put me at the East End. And I've been there since 2011. And I told them, it ain't a job I haven't done at East End. I think I've done every job there is to do up there. From being a receptionist to being anything, helper in the daycare, helper in anything. And I got to tell y'all about Dr. Thomas being the board chairman. And we had the daycare and everything. So one day I walk in with a switch.
And I said, I'm a mandated reporter. I do understand the idea of this switch, but you got to get that out of here. You're going to get me in trouble.
I said, but I wasn't going to whip them. I just wanted them to see what a switch looked like.
And I said, I understand. We all grew up with the switch, but you got to get that switch out of here, Miss Nancy.
So, and they kept saying they was gonna move me from the East End, and Matt, he was over it, and every time he tried to move me, I don't know what Dr. Thomas said to him or whatever, but he said, oh, you can stay. So then when my time was up there, and they said I was rotating out, I don't know what they did, but next thing I know, I was hired at East End.
Like,
So-
we can't let her go.
So I've been there ever since. You know, life has been good to me. And I tell people and I tell my kids all the time how good life has been good to me. I don't regret nothing in my life. I think we all lived the life that God put before us. And if we learn how to run that race, you have to run that race. And if you're running that race right, He's going to take care of you and protect you at all times. And I think that's what keeps me. And I tell my daughters, I tell the grandkids, and I tell the great-grandkids, get to know God. Get to understand Him. Because once you understand Him, and I said I wasn't going to do that. But I'm blessed. I got 3 daughters. I got 11 grandkids. And I got 23 great-grandkids. So when I look at all the God has brought me through, and when my mother told me it's time for you to leave here and follow your husband from Mississippi, and I said I didn't want to go, she said, no, when you got married, it was time for you to leave home. So I thank God for that. I thank God for everything that have happened to me over the years, and I hope and pray that I'm here to keep on blessing people. And that is my story. Thank you.
So let's open it up for questions with, because this is a conversation with Miss Nancy Lee Reed.
Okay.
I have a question. Judging by how old somebody said you were, you
Mhm.
probably were growing up in the civil rights time.
Yes, I
What
was.
was that like for you, and how did it influence your parents? How did they guide you during that time, or what happened in your experiences?
My experiences, I saw a lot of death and a lot of violence during that time.
A lot of which?
Violence.
Violence.
I saw a lot of violence, a lot of hate.
Yeah.
During the civil rights, when the three
Young men.
people got killed on the road coming from Philadelphia. The one lived around the corner from me. So you saw a lot of death. And I tell you something, I went back, me, Terry Burton, went on a civil rights tour a couple of years ago.
Good for you.
And to visit all of that and to know that as I was coming up, it was happening. It was something. And we went to the Pettis Bridge. And I saw all that being done on that Sunday morning, on the day that they washed and sprayed all those people. I watched it on TV. But then to be able to walk across that bridge, I cried all the way across that bridge. And I have to tell you, we had these kids from college that was with us, and this young man came, and when I stopped as we was crossing the bridge, as we got ready to cross it, he took my arm, and he said, "I'll lead you across, Miss Nancy. Come on, I'm right here with you." And that was amazing to me. That was amazing to walk across that bridge where so many of us died. And I looked at the people that died and I fought to walk across that bridge and to see what had happened to them. And to know that we made it through. We made it through in spite of the hate. In spite of everyone saying they weren't going to let him cross that bridge. And I think of Martin Luther King. We went to the hotel where he was shot at. And you think about the stuff he went through. And then we don't look at stuff the way, the kids don't look at stuff the way it was back then. And they don't understand. They don't understand. They just know they got it now. They don't understand how they got it. They need to know how they got it and why they have it. And we are going backwards. To me, we are going backwards. If we don't step up, we're going to be right back where we started from. With the riots, with the killing, with everything. And I pray to God that I'm not here to see it. My first husband was in the Navy and he had to help. He was one of the ones that helped find those 3 riders in Philadelphia. He wasn't allowed to come home for days because they was on base and they had to go out and search for them. So it was just, it's amazing, and I hope I try to get it through to the young kids nowadays. Get out. Know what you're fighting for. Know what there is to fight for in this life. Don't take nothing for granted, because there's nothing for granted in this life. If you don't work for it, you're not going to have it. And I pray to God, and I pray every day that we don't go back to whence we come.
One of the stories I often tell people is a time at East End when I was in the office. And one of the young women told Miss Nancy she was bored. And Miss Nancy gave her the lecture for life about everything she had gone through and how dare she be bored and what her mother does for her and on and on and on. I forget her name. It started with a T. Her Miss West was her mom. And they were originally from Chester.
Yeah, Tawana.
And her mom listened to a lot of that because her mom got her involved in every volunteer activity she could get that child involved in.
Yes, she did.
And she wound up doing very well.
Very well.
I'm pretty sure I know I heard she went to college.
She went to college, and her mother, I still have Yvette on Facebook, and every once in a while she'll show me pictures of her and said, look what my baby did. And sometimes she'll come on and say, Miss Nancy, you the cause of this. I said, no, God's the cause of this. You know, I remember, we gave her the award.
Gave her an award.
At East End for being a young person that stepped up to the plate and helped a lot of the other kids. And she volunteered at East End till they moved away from here, which was a good thing. But I don't like to hear young people talk about them being bored. There's too much in life for them to do to be bored. And I tell them this they laugh at me at East End. They say, the teachers can be telling them, be quiet, and I come out the kitchen and I can look at them and a lot of them will be quiet. But you got to know what kids want and what to give to those kids. And the kids want love more than anything in this world. They want love. And when we give them love, you get love back. And that's what I believe in at East End. And I think with the daycare and with the after-school program that we're giving a lot of love. I get a lot of hugs every morning. And I'm proud of the hugs. I'm proud of it. I got the one little boy, Isaiah, they call me Nana. His mother said when she brought him there, he was 8 weeks old, and now he's 3. And she said, when she first brought him up, she said, my baby don't do nothing other people's babies do. My baby just don't do nothing. I told you the other day, you wish he was back to 8 weeks, don't you? He do it all now. But he know Nana loves him. So when he get in trouble, Nana goes in there and get him. So he knows that. But it's just all about love. People got to learn how to love one another. It's all about love.
Any other questions for Miss Nancy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think how to formulate it. We're in a house. It's been set up with a lot of work, a lot of history, and you've told lots of yours. Okay, the civil rights movement, we heard a bit about that. Going back further, were any of your relatives, your grandparents or anything, were they slaves or?
My grandmother was.
Your
Yeah. My grandmother was. She was part Indian. And I'll tell you a story about Alice Curry. That was my grandmother. She died when I was pregnant with my firstborn. And the night before she died, she told me to come to her. And I went in there and sat down beside the bed. And she said, yeah, I love you, and God put you here for a reason. And don't let nobody take that away from you. And I said, what do you mean, Mom Sis? Because we called her Mama Sis. She said, always remember, God put you here for a reason. And I remember that to this day. And now I think about what she told me. God put me here for a reason. And I'm still here.
Any of her experiences being a slave or anything?
No, But my aunt, I can tell you one thing, my aunt Hattie, husband was killed by their landlord because he wanted my Aunt Hattie. So he killed her husband. And he had 3 kids by her, but they never could call him daddy because he had a family. Never could. And those are things that I remember a lot because when that happened, I was really small, and my mama would always say about that. My mama said she used to always say, "Don't look back. Keep your eyes on the prize and keep looking forward." She would say that. And you know, I know I've had slavery in my family. I know all that. But I don't feel like a slave. I feel like God put me here to work for Him.
Slave for Christ?
Yes, that's what I am. Some Sundays I feel worse.
We all are.
Yeah, I really do. I tell Lisa a lot of time, and that's my daughter from another mama over there, that I always tell her, God got you here for a reason, because she's the one that always worry about what people are thinking and how people are thinking. And I always tell her, don't think about what people thinking, think about what you're doing, and just keep on doing the right thing. And my daughter Anita and her husband Jimmy, I tell people, they are my body and soul, because I can talk to her about almost anything. Even when I'm feeling down and out, I can call them and talk to them. And for some reason, they lift me up. They lift me up in different ways. My kids call me every day. Anita called me every night. If she called me before 9:30, I'd be saying, "What's wrong?" Because I know it's 9:30 at night. And I know her and Jimmy gonna talk to me and tell me about their day and how it's done went. And I give thanks for that. I give thanks that they care that much about me, that they can call me every night and tell
But
me.
you know, you're that to other people because you know a few times I've called you to take me off the ledge.
Yeah.
It's like, Miss Nancy, I'm on the ledge. Where you at? Where you at?
Yeah.
Where are you at? How come you ain't out at East End?
I say, I'm at home. Come on by.
Where you at? Get me off the ledge, because they just made me mad for the time.
Well, I always tell everybody my door's open. I said my house is do drop in. Do drop in anytime. And I never turn nobody away. And if you need to talk, I'm there to listen. If I can help you in any way, I'm going to help you whichever way I can. Yeah, really do.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, do drop in.
Now,
You don't know how many do that.
Okay, I find a big crowd there, huh?
Holidays is a holiday at my house. Every holiday is a holiday. I know when COVID was going on, Anita took me to their house for Christmas. I think, and then we all ended up back at my house with us passing out the gifts and everything to everybody. Because it's just a big holiday at my house, and we cook and we eat and we have fun. And that's what life's all about. You serve God and you have fun. Yeah.
Well, I think somewhere in here there's going to be a plaque that reads, what did you said this a few minutes ago, stop thinking about what other people think about you, but what you're doing.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be
Yeah,
a plaque
you have to
somewhere.
think. You
I think
know,
that's what
quit
we're
thinking
practicing.
of, because other people ain't gonna never think good of you. You gonna always have them that's gonna look down at you and look back. But if you look forward and move ahead, then you know you're doing the right thing. And that's what life's all about.
Well, Miss Nancy, thank you for the conversation. Let's give Miss Nancy a round of.
Look at me clapping for myself.
If you don't clap for yourself, who else will clap for you?